What's up guys, today I will be making a tutorial on how you can godbridge in Minecraft. And you probably think like, oh my god, there are like a couple tutorials already, why are we making another one? And well, I've seen most of them, I think, most of the ones that I can find. And there are these basic things like when you need to click, when you need to aim and stuff. But I still see like a lot of questions in lobbies, I mean, sometimes of people asking things. And some of those are pretty obvious, but I mean, if you're not familiar with godbridging, you may not know these things. And yeah, that's why I'm making this video. I'm just going to show you how to can godbridge and all these other things, from just where you need to aim, how much CPS you need, and also like which mouse, and maybe even some Minecraft settings that can help you. Please consider subscribing if this helps for you. It would make my day. And yeah, let's start. So when you want to start godbridging, you of course want to know where you want to aim. So what I usually do is I just pick this block because it's really easy to see. And you can see I'm aiming at the first pixel somewhere. And you know, when you do this, there is a high chance of you falling off. You know, I'll just walk backwards, and you will see slowly but surely I will start walking off the block. And you know, yeah, it's almost here, you know, and I'm off the block. So I will fall somewhere here. And you don't want it, of course, so to prevent that, I have two methods. And the first one is, it takes a bit longer, but it's the most precise. And what you want to do is, you want to press F3. And then you can see at the first coordinate, I will somewhere highlight it somewhere. And you can see you need to be at somewhere around 45 for this one, like that. So now it's exactly 45. So now you're not going to walk off. If you're like 0.2 off or something, it doesn't really matter. It's going to take a while before you walk off, but yeah, if you need really long, it's the best to make it exactly 45. And if you're going here, it needs to be minus 45. If you're here, minus 135, and here 135. So the second option, probably the one I would use, because this one takes less amount of time. So what I have here is a bridging Corsair overlay, and as you can see, it's sort of like an arrow that is pointing upwards. And with this, it's really easy to see if I'm going to fall over or not. So it's really obvious, like now this is not good. I mean, you're obviously going to walk off. And if it's like this somewhere, I'm going to make it as good as I can. And if you press F3, it is exactly 135. Okay, nailed it. So yeah, if you get used to this crosshair, you don't need to press F3 at all. And this bridging crosshair, you can change it in your texture pack folder. I will leave a download in the description too, by the way. But one thing is, it will change your hotbar and your hearts and stuff. So yeah, you can change that yourself if you want. But there is also a better option if you are using Badline client. And if you go to your mods, in Badline client, this is Lunar client, and you search crosshair, you can change the style to arrow. And I can only do cross and circle, but in Badline you can choose arrow, and it will be something like this. You can customize it all you want, and it's a lot easier. I'm not using Badline client, so I cannot show that. By the way, if you press F3, there's also a second coordinate, and this is how high you're aiming. And most people say you need 75, but you're aiming above the block, and this does not work with my timing. You can learn it this way, and it's definitely possible. But I do somewhere 75.8, which is again the first pixel. So you know where to aim, and you want to start godbridging with your 20 CPS butterfly or your 50 CPS jitter click, or you can even drag click 30 CPS or something. And yeah, just yeah, let's start, I guess. So you want to do the aiming. No, F3. At 45. Okay, let's start butterfly clicking. And I fell off instantly. How is that possible? Okay. And I fell off again. What is this? Is this tutorial kit lying or what? And well, of course I'm not. You want to time your clicks, and if you think that's insanely hard, well, it is. As you can see, I can't even do it, but I thought you were a godbridger, we were making a tutorial. So what you want to do instead of single clicking is, or a double click. If you look at my keystrokes, every time I click twice. And this is not a macro, this is just me double clicking. There are double clicking tutorials if you want, but the best way, of course, is short drag clicking. If I short drag click once, as you can see, 3 CPS, 3 CPS, 3 CPS, 3 CPS. So I usually get 3 or 4, some people can get even 5. But now you might be asking, why don't I just normally drag click? You know, I can get like 20 CPS. And yeah, you want to drag click every block you place. And long drag clicking takes too long, so you want to like do a short drag, like drag every block. And this just makes it so there is a higher chance of you placing the block. You can also do it with double clicking, but it's a little bit harder, and if you can do it with single clicking, there's something wrong with you, to be honest, but short drag clicking is the way to go. This is not a tutorial for short drag clicking. I'll leave some in the description. Maybe if you look it up yourself, there might be one for your mouse specifically. And yeah, that's basically it. So you can short drag now, or maybe not. You might need a little bit of practice for that. But you don't know how to start, or you don't know the timing, because I'm constantly saying you need to time the clicks, but every time I try it, I fall off. Well, let me explain how to start. So, as I said, you need to be aiming. So what you want to do is go to the edge of the block, and then unshift, and then do your aiming stuff like I showed earlier. And when you did that, there are two options. First option is to sneak and keep walking backwards. As you can see on my keystrokes, I'm pressing S and D right now. You can also press A and D like that. Just depends what you like. I prefer S and D. And the first way is press these and keep sneaking. And at the moment you unsneak, you start drag clicking. There is also another option which a lot of other people use. I personally use a sneaking one, but it is to just aim, and at the exact moment you press through your two keys, you start walking, you want to start drag clicking. So something like this. And that's also possible. There is no better way, I just prefer the sneaking one. You probably know Battle Snoop, he just starts walking backwards. So now the timing itself, after you start dot bridging. So this is really easy said, but it can take a while before you actually get it. And so you want to drag every block, and I assume you know that, but you always start dragging too late or too early, and I have two good methods again to how you can learn this timing. The first one is probably not the easiest one, but it's if you're really bad at timing at the start. So what you want to do is you want to build 3 blocks above the ground. Then you want to aim. And when I'm going to give an example of dragging too fast. I don't think this is the right aim. I'm going to drag 3 times and I'm going to do it too fast. And as you can see, I placed the block on top because I accidentally moved my aim. But normally there should be or a block here if you aim above the block, or if you aim like me, there should be nothing here. And that means you're dragging too fast. If I do it too slow, let's show that. You will probably place blocks below the bridge. And that's a really easy way of telling if your timing is too fast or too slow. The second option is probably the easiest one, and that is watching this keyboard and mouse sounds video. Those help me a ton. I will leave some in the description. Maybe I will do a little bit of keyboard and mouse sounds at the end of the video, depends on how long it is. But this is really easy to get the timing down. Just listen to the sounds and try to replicate it yourself. And yeah, that really helped me a ton. So now I'm going to learn you the jump, because if you haven't noticed already while practicing, you can only do like maximum 8 blocks. And I'll just show how much I can do. If I start god bridging, I can only do 8 blocks. And so what you want to do is you want to jump at least every 8 blocks. I recommend from 6 to 8. So yeah, I prefer 7, and I'll just show you what it looks like. So I do aiming and then and yeah, something like that. So with jumping you can god bridge infinitely unless you mess up. So the best way to learn this again is watch keyboard and mouse sounds. Listen to when someone presses the spacebar, when he drags at the jump. And jumping, it's really difficult to explain, but there are also 2 clicking methods on what you can do. The first one is just waiting a bit and then dragging, and the other one is just doing a longer drag. Just make it a little bit longer so you don't need to time the jump. So, and I personally prefer the waiting one. Just wait a little bit and then just do a normal short drag, because the long dragging usually makes me mess up my whole timing. So yeah, maybe watch some keyboard and mouse sounds for this and choose what's the best one for you. So I see people wondering, what mouse do I use? What mouse do I use? Well, the answer is pretty simple, but also pretty complicated at the same time. So you just want to find a mouse that can double click. That you can do that by clicking with your like whole finger, make your finger like fall on your mouse button, and it should create like a double click. And if you can't do it, maybe look it up or something. And if it still doesn't work, it may be the case that your mouse cannot double click. And then that's not a good mouse. If your mouse can double click, you can drag click on it and it will register all the CPS. The best mouse should be a bit heavier so it doesn't move easily, and also a good texture and long mouse buttons. But this does not matter that much. You can also always hold your mouse so it doesn't move, and you can always use tape if the mouse doesn't have a good texture. So now I'm going to go over some general tips that I think would be useful for some people. So where do you want to practice? And I like to use single player for the first time just because you can always start really easily over again when you fall. And yeah, but if you can do it a little bit when you can start like doing the first jump, I usually like to go on some bridging servers, and one that I really recommend is mcplayg.net. I'll just join it really quick. And when you go in the server, it looks like this. You can punch the NPC, and there you are, and you see a lot of people next to you bridging. And this is just really fun to practice your bridging and try to get new records and stuff. And there will also leaderboard, and god bridging is around about 12.2 seconds. In this lobby, if I finish, I would be the first on the leaderboard. So yeah. Okay, so I finished, now I'm first. So what FOV do you want to use? And I use 90, and this is not just like a perfect FOV, by the way. The best FOV, in my opinion, is Quake Pro. And I mean, this does look terrible, but I learned it in Quake Pro, just the timing, and it's just really easy for some reason. It's just really clear what's going on. For example, if your FOV is as low as this, it just makes it really difficult. And that was a little bit of lag. That's not even the FOV's fault. But you know, I mean, this is a little bit extreme, but if your FOV is like normal, it's a lot more difficult to god bridge like this. And yeah, I recommend turning it up a little bit. You don't need to use 90, that's just my FOV. I should turn it down a little bit because 90 is also really high. But yeah, definitely, if you want to practice it for the first time, I recommend a higher FOV. So, do you need to sprint? Well, for some reason, I don't know why people ask this, but you cannot sprint, you can only sprint forward, as you can see. If I go backwards, I cannot sprint, and I'm using toggle sprint, so I'm always sprinting. And you can also not sprint sideways. So what you're doing with god bridging is literally pressing back and side. So sprinting doesn't matter, but I mean, in Bedrock Edition, apparently there's like this bug that you can sprint backwards, and that's really weird. But no, sprinting does not matter. It will not affect your god bridging. So now view bobbing, and I'm just going to turn this setting on. And this makes your whole Minecraft move when you walk and stuff. And this just looks really, really weird when you bridge. As you can see, I cannot bridge with this, okay? This is just really, really distracting for me. But even with like ninja bridging, this just looks really dumb for me. And when I turn this off, it's just a lot more easy for me to ninja bridge. And the same goes for god bridging. This just looks really clean. So that's all I have to say. I wish you good luck on practicing this. And yeah, I hope this helped something. Make sure to subscribe if you did. And yeah, I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.